Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. America has arguably the most generous and compassionate immigration system in the free world. And if we would, as a nation, just enforce the laws that currently exist, we'd be just fine. We have fences and walls around our homes and neighborhoods, not because we don't want strangers to come knock on the door if they need to talk to us, but because we want them to come through the gate. America has plenty of gates, our ports of entry, and these illegal crossings that we're discussing today are coming between our ports of entry. Customs and Border Patrol is overwhelmed by the policies that have been presented to the world by the Biden administration. Thus, we have to deal with it as a nation, and yet the Democrat majority will not allow us to meet in the people's house. In the house of we the people are not allowed to meet to discuss the disintegration of our sovereignty as a nation. The Democrats should be ashamed. They will be held responsible. Whether or not they ever feel shame, we shall see. Brandon, I'd like for you to explain to those that will witness this hearing the significance of the gotaways regarding their criminal intent. Everyone that crosses the border illegally, by definition, is criminal. But the large percentage of crossers are those seeking to be processed. Would you concur, yes or no, that if you cross a border illegally and you're seeking processing, you're 100% going to receive that? Is that not correct? You can find a border.
That is correct.
Okay, so those that are avoiding processing by federal agents or local or state law enforcement, those are your hardened criminals, you guys running the drugs, the fentanyl, the human trafficking, sex trafficking, children. So when we talk about numbers, my numbers are 2.4 million crossings in this past year. It was 600,000 gotaways. So you're talking about an infusion of 600,000 determined criminals coming into our country that are merging with the existing criminal networks across the country, and the nation now has to deal with the surge in violent crime. If you directly connect these dots, please, if you would, I'll give you the floor and the balance of my time. Just take your time and explain why America is currently experiencing a surge in violent crime and how that connects directly to the policies and decisions that are being delivered out of our White House onto America.
So we call the people that are trying to evade apprehension, we call them runners. When we apprehend runners and we run them through the system, when we fingerprint them and get their criminal records back, we have apprehended people that have been wanted for murder. We've apprehended people that have abused children, that have been arrested and spent multiple years in prison for rape. We arrest people for that have been convicted of violent crime all the time. And these are always, again, they're the runners. And when you look at the number of people that have been able to evade apprehension at a minimum, and these are the ones that we know of, the ones that we were actually able to count, more than 400,000 people evaded apprehension in the year 2020, in fiscal year 2021. If you ask any Border Patrol agent how many people we actually detect, they're going to tell you that we detect between 60 to 80% of those people that cross the border. So there's still another 40% that 40 to 20% that we...
My number's 35. That's pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty close. So when you look at that, 400,000 known gotaways, and then you add on top of that, certainly it's very easy to say, and I believe that it is a very conservative number, that about 800,000 people evaded apprehension in the year 2021, and that's a serious problem. We don't know who these people are. We don't know what their intentions are. We don't know where they're going. We obviously do not know what their criminal record is, and that is scary.
Well, we do know that their intent was to avoid being processed, and therefore their entry into our nation was very likely to plug into the criminal networks that exist across the country. So the existing criminal networks are being pushed into territories and neighborhoods that they hadn't touched before. Can you respond?
If I may, Mr. Higgins, very quickly, if I should add, the individuals that are coming through the gate that you mentioned earlier too, CBP is also being overwhelmed by them based on the policies that have been put in place by this administration. And many of those individuals too, including many who are in the UAC population, have also found their ways into the criminal networks that you're talking about, that Mr. Judd is talking about. So it is not just those that have gone into the getaway populations that have tried to avoid and evade apprehension, but those in fact that have been processed and then put into various places in the immigration system, and have also been put into guardians care as unaccompanied children that have ultimately turned out to be part of criminal gangs and also other types of criminals. So
It's horrible all the way around.
Absolutely.
My time has expired. It's abhorrent what we are witnessing at our southern border. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing.